presence caught my attention with its visual presentation, reminiscent of films like Lake Mungo and A Ghost Story, two films that brilliantly capture the essence and concept of ghosts in the same way this one does. The film tells the story of a somewhat dysfunctional family, where each member seems to be on the verge of a breakdown due to various underlying issues and tensions. However, these dynamics are only revealed from the observer's perspective. It quickly becomes clear that this observer is in fact a ghost haunting the family throughout the film. Yes, it's paranormal activity, but this time everything unfolds through the eyes of the entity, who interestingly proves to be a better cameraman than some living people. The visual presentation creates room for so much creativity, having glimpses of elements on screen where it builds to make you expect something will appear at the corner of the frame. The wide shots focusing on specific elements or characters, and the unease created by the camera movement. These elements worked quite well. The writing itself could have been better, especially some early dialogues, simply because there are a lot of short scenes where the movie cuts, and some of these felt so unnecessary to the story itself. Aside from that, the way it unfolds further is captivating and enigmatic, in a way that fits really well with the concept involved, as the entity's inability to comprehend its reality is paired with the audience not quite getting certain behaviors and conversations these characters have. The narrative raises more and more questions as it progresses. For example, why does the father have unsettling conversations about his wife's job? Why is there so much tension surrounding their move into this house? And most importantly, who are the girls repeatedly mentioned throughout the film, who mysteriously died and seem to have a connection to the couple's youngest daughter? These questions are left intentionally open-ended, with the film relying heavily on ambiguity to build intrigue and keep the audience engaged. I do believe that some aspects could have been left more subtle, as the real magic of this film lies in its mystery and the unsettling feeling of seeing things from the perspective of what we usually fear in stories like this. One example is a crucial moment in the end when a character has a breakdown and explicitly explains what happened in a rushed manner, almost as if the film were afraid that the audience wouldn't understand. This is particularly jarring because the story is told from the entity's perspective, which should not fully comprehend what is happening. To me, this direct explanation weakened the impact of the ending. Throughout the film, we repeatedly see the ghost retreating into the closet in the youngest daughter's bedroom. She is also the first to sense its presence and eventually concludes that it is her best friend watching over them. The ghost seems to harbor resentment towards their older brother, which becomes evident in a scene where he laughs at a cruel prank he pulled at school. However, as the story unfolds, many of the ghost's actions appear inconsistent, at least until the final moments. The older brother has a friend who is disturbingly fascinated by his sister. At one point, this friend attempts to harm her by spiking her drink, but the ghost intervenes and prevents it. Later, however, this same person manages to drug both the brother and the sister, and this time the ghost does not step in. This inconsistency seems to serve the plot's progression, but I feel this moment could have been handled better, or perhaps I missed a crucial detail. This same antagonist is later revealed to be responsible for the deaths of the two girls mentioned earlier. As the climax unfolds, the ghost desperately tries to wake the brother, who then rushes upstairs to save his sister. In the struggle, he accidentally pushes the attacker out of a window, but tragically he also falls, and they both die. Sometime later, the mother sees her son's reflection in the living room mirror, revealing that the ghost was never the daughter's deceased friend, it was her brother all along. What I found unnecessary was the mother explicitly stating through tears that the ghost was her son and had been protecting them the entire time. The final shot showing the ghost walking away as if finally able to move on was powerful on its own. The added explanation diminished what could have been left for interpretation. In my opinion, the revealed would have been much more impactful without it, as we already had some hints from the conversation with the medium before. Earlier in the film, a medium explains that ghosts can drift between past and present, but are unaware of what they are doing or even who they are. I interpreted this to mean that they are driven by the motivations and sense they had in life. A soul that retains the core of who they were but lacks self-awareness. They are drawn to places and people without understanding why, simply trying to make sense of their existence. Presence has a lot of things that I adore. The possibilities with the camera work are immense, and I wish the film had scarier and more intense scenes. However, I do see it's not the focus here. The focus is to tell a story of a soul, figuring out what is happening, trying to remember and make sense of everything around it, and finally moving on from its seemingly never-ending cycle.